Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back into another edition of Astros Recap, trade deadline special. So yes, I do this every year. I get on after the trade deadline and give you my take on things. It is Tuesday, so it's obviously not my regular night. I'm back at home, as you can see. Fan off in the background there. It is 10:55 p.m., August 1st. So yes, the deadline is now over. Astros obviously making the biggest splash, acquiring Justin Verlander, so we'll get into that. Got to be happy with it. They gave away their top prospects, which, we'll get into that as well. But to get the deal done, I was very happy, excited when it happened. Curious to see what they had given up. Obviously Drew Gilbert was the big prospect in the deal that, when they made the deal for Verlander, that was pretty clear that he was part of it. But how good will Drew Gilbert be with these prospects? It's always hard to, some guys end up to be total flops. And the Astros farm system isn't good. Talks were heating up. Last night we were unaware of. They sort of fizzled out. Mets and Astros had been in talks. It just seemed like nothing was really close. So, I was very doubtful going into the day. I didn't think anything would really happen. I thought that they would try maybe to get Verlander, and I thought things would sort of, they would transition to a plan B or plan C in terms of pitching, starting pitchers. Dana Brown came out Sunday and said they weren't looking for starting pitchers, which, take that with what you will, but, it seemed like they were more interested in getting whether it was a bat or another reliever. So we didn't know exactly. Now, there were a lot of deals, and we're going to go through a lot, but I'm just sticking with the Astros standpoint of things. So Verlander, obviously, Astros gave up Drew Gilbert. I thought they might actually give up some major league talent. Like Hunter Brown was a name that was floated around a little bit. I wouldn't have necessarily liked that. But Gilbert and then their number, I don't know if it was a third or fourth prospect, Ryan Clifford. So Logan Gilbert and Ryan Clifford are the guys to go. We don't know much about Clifford. He's like 19, 20 years old. He's in single A right now, but he's been playing well. So, but yeah, those are the two that go to get Verlander. And not only that, here's the big kicker. Verlander's owed so much money. But the Astros are getting, the Mets are paying more than $50 million towards his contract. So he signed for the rest of this year, all of next year, and then there's that vest. I don't even know how this works necessarily, but there's this vesting option in 2025, I guess it is, which, and he's got incentives. Like, I think next year he gets the full salary, but he has to pitch at least 140 innings, which he'll easily do if he stays healthy. So that's the thing. But Verlander obviously, started the season on the IL. He, wasn't very good out of the gate his first handful of starts, but really has been very good his last 5 or 6. I don't know exactly what it is, but the ERA is in the low 3s when I looked at it. I think it's like 6-5, 7-5, something like that. So, but yeah, you're getting your guy back that you had, last year. Obviously, sort of left a little bit of a sour taste in our mouth because his postseason performance is not that great. Obviously, that Game 1 against Seattle, not good. He did pitch well in Game 2 against New York, the Yankees. Wasn't good in Game 1 in the World Series. Did get the Game 5 win in the World Series, but it was a little rocky for him, especially after posting a 1.75 ERA throughout the regular season and winning the Cy Young Award. So, but yeah, getting Verlander back, solidified ace. How good will he be? Can he sustain what he's been doing? That'll yet to be seen. But I have to give Dana Brown, I have to give him his props. I remember telling myself, if he can get this deal done, because I didn't see it happening all the way through. I just sat there and, it was really the Astros and Dodgers in talks to get Verlander. It seemed like all day. Now, this morning, when I turned on the TV, there were a few extra teams that were involved, and that was, the Padres were interested, along with Baltimore, the Orioles, And I feel like the more teams get involved, I mean, the Astros can't, they have nothing to give up. Nothing. I mean, compared to these other teams that have, top prospects and people that are in the top 100 and ranked high, and the Astros have none of those things. So I didn't think it'd get done, but it did. And we'll welcome Verlander back, and they'll go a 6-man rotation, and we will no longer have to see people like Brandon Bielak or Ronel Blanco for the rest of the year, if we can stay healthy. I mean, you got Urquidy coming back later this week. Verlander will get his first start probably Saturday or Sunday in the Bronx against the Yankees. That'll be interesting. But, we talked about, on Sunday at the station about, the Rangers getting... Rangers didn't do a whole lot today. I think they got a catcher, Austin Hedges, just because Jonah Heim for them is going to be hurt. So, I mean, they didn't really grab anybody of major significance. I don't know what Austin Hedges has been doing this year, but he's a backup catcher, I think, at best. So, but yeah, I mean, they got Max Scherzer. That was their big sort of move. They acquired Aroldis Chapman earlier. They also brought in Jordan Montgomery, a reliever. So they made their moves, and the Astros made their moves. So Astros needed a starting pitcher, and they got the biggest name out there on the market. So, yeah, I give Dan Brown a lot of credit for making that happen. Now, they did mortgage a little bit of the future. But, at this point, it's like, Drew Gilbert, people act like, I feel like he's talked about like he's some big-name prospect. We need to keep this in mind. He's not a top 100 guy. He's not. I know nothing about Ryan Clifford, nothing. But we don't know. And the Astros have traded away a lot of prospects that were highly regarded that have turned into nothing. So that's the thing. I mean, our prospects, it's a total crapshoot. They can, Mark Appel's a perfect example. A guy that, a number 1 overall pick, and he was a complete bust. Some players play well in the minors, and they can't make it in the majors. John Singleton's a good example. I was back in our farm system. But he was a guy that, was a rising star in AAA and can never really make it as a big leaguer. I mean, I guess it's yet to be seen. He's back in AAA for us. He found his way back, and he's hitting well as far as I've heard. But, yeah, it's always it's a lot of unknowns when it comes to prospects. But Drew Gilbert is not a top 100 guy. He's not. The Astros don't have top 100 prospects. They just don't have it. And a lot of that is due to the fact of what they lost. In 2021, 2022, they lost their first and second round picks. That goes back to the sign stealing scandal and what they, they got busted for. That taking away their draft picks hurt the team. But yeah, for Dana Brown to get that done, I give him a lot of credit. But again, they're in total go-for-it mode. This has the feel of what 2019 was. When they got Zach Greinke, and they traded away, 3 good prospects to Arizona to get that deal done. They also added Aaron Sanchez and Joe Biagini that same year. Of course, they didn't really factor into much. But, yeah, this is exciting. For the Astros, they still got to go out there. They got to stay healthy. They got to produce. So offensively, I think they're fine if they stay healthy. But starters now, you can run a 6-man rotation where you'd have, Framber Valdez threw a no-hitter tonight. So, I'll wait till Sunday to break down most of the games this week, but, we're waiting for Framber to really show us a game. I think he did that today. So, hopefully that's just that's a giant step in the right direction for Framber if he can regain his, he was living up to the ace hype, but now it's going to be, I would say, Verlander. But yeah, it's nice to go, if you want to go 6-man rotation, which they've talked about, and you can do that now without having a Brandon Bielak or Ronel Blanco in the rotation. I mean, it'll be, you'll have Framber in there. You'll have Christian Javier. You'll have J.P. France. You'll have Verlander. You'll have Urquidy. And you'll have Hunter Brown. So that's your 6 guys going forward, I would assume. Bullpen's a little better with Kendall Graveman, of course. Yeah, I mean, you still got Abreu back there. You got Neris. I won't really count Montero, but, Presley closing out games. But the pitching is significantly upgraded in the last, week, basically, with just the two acquisitions. So, yeah, I do want to run down just the other trades, just so I'm not leaving you hanging here. I think I have a list of them here. Obviously, the big one was the Verlander deal. Astros sending Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford to the Mets for that. To look down, Orioles get Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals. Get the Blue Jays, Paul DeYoung from the Cardinals. Cardinals moved a lot of people. It's deadline. Phillies get Michael Lorenzen. That was a guy I thought the Astros were actually going to be in on. Like, he was their plan B if the Verlander thing fell through. I thought they'd go after Michael Lorenzen, but Phillies got him. Padres were buyers. At the deadline, they added this is a minor move. It's a reliever, Scott Barlow from the Royals. There's a few other moves Padres made. I'll get to them here. Marlins acquired Josh Bell from the Guardians. So they're buyers. Padres, Rich Hill and G-Man Choi from the Pirates. That was a bigger move. I don't know how well either of those players are, but you get a left-hander and a first baseman. Give him some depth, probably. D-backs, get Tommy Pham. He was also a New York Met. Tommy Pham would have been a nice pickup if the Astros could have gotten him. Well, I'll give Jeremy Branham credit for this. He was talking about this on the Killer Bees earlier today, but Tommy Pham would have been a nice throw-in with that Verlander deal to give them some depth in the outfield, especially with Corey Julks sort of really struggling of late, but the D-backs got him. Yankees, Kenyon Middleton from the White Sox. They were trying to dump him, so that gives them some depth in the bullpen, I guess. But the Yankees are not really playing very good baseball right now. Marlins get third baseman Jake Berger from the White Sox. So that's their second move. Brewers get Andrew Chafin, left-handed reliever, from the D-backs. So D-backs who are buyers did let go of Chafin there. Rangers, I just talked about them. Austin Hedges from the Pirates for international bonus pool money. So they give up a lot. Padres first baseman Garrett Cooper from the Marlins. Braves, Brad Hand. That was the first deal of the day. The Braves getting Brad Hand from the Rockies. Mets, I don't even know who this is. Phil Bickford from the Dodgers for cash. Yeah, Mets. So Dodgers, Ryan Yarborough from the Royals. That gives them another arm in their bullpen, I guess. Red Sox, Luis Arias from the Brewers. Phillies get, I don't know, this is either Rodolfo Castro from the Pirates. Angels, Dominic Leone. That's a reliever from the Mets. Angels obviously aren't they're buyers. Yankees, another reliever, Spencer Howard from the Rangers. Rays get Alex Jackson from the Brewers, catcher. White Sox, Luis Patino from the Rays. These are minor deals at this point. Mariners, reliever Edward Bazardo from the Orioles. Rockies, Justin Bruhel? Bruhl? I don't know who that is either. Dodgers for cash from the Dodgers. Rays, Adrian Sampson and Manuel Rodriguez. Those are relievers from the Cubs. Royals, Tucker Davidson, left-handed pitcher from the Angels. D-backs, Chase Peterson. I'm not going to continue to go here. I don't even know a lot of these players anymore. But yeah, even the Mariners, who were a big, team that got really hot last year and supposed to be this good team, they were sellers. So this is the Rangers and the Astros division at this point. Who would have thought that that was going to be what it was? But looks like it'll be a fight in the division, but the Astros got a lot better. Obviously, the Rangers got better as well. But yeah, if we can, get, we're waiting to get Urquidy back here. Jordan and Altuve are back, so the team's finally getting healthy here. And if they can stay healthy, I think they're the favorites, especially in the AL West, to win the division. They're only a half game back. And then obviously favorites to, go to the World Series. The only team, if they can overtake the Rangers, it would be trying to track down the Orioles, who had the best record, and they got it by a pretty decent margin. If I look real quick here, they just updated this thing here, but it's not terrible. I mean, the Orioles are 66-41, Astros are 61-47. So if I do the quick math, 4.5 games back, I think. Oh wait, no, hold on, I did that wrong. 5, 2.5, 6, 3, 5.5. 5.5 games back. Not out of the question. But yeah, I mean, the first goal here is to overtake Texas and take the AL West crown there. And we're right on their heels. So, yeah. And obviously, Minnesota leads the Central, but they're 55-53. So, but yeah, with the new playoff format, top 2 teams get byes. So, it'd be nice to at least be the 2 seed to get that bye and not deal with the sort of wild card 3-game series round. That would be the goal there. So, but yeah, Astros in the second wild card spot. But the goal right now is to overtake the Rangers. So, yeah, wasn't gonna be a long podcast, about 17 minutes here, but just wanted to take you through the big news of the day. Obviously, love to hear your comments in the section below. One thing I didn't really bring up was the money. I might have briefly brought it up, but yeah, I actually did bring it up. But the big news to this deal, because Verlander's owed so much money, and that's part of the reason the Astros didn't sign him in the offseason. It's because the Mets were willing to give him $40 million a year, and the Astros said we're not interested. And the Astros didn't even make an offer. They knew that they weren't going to re-sign Verlander. We knew that it was sort of goodbye. But yeah, the Mets giving us or paying $50 million worth of that contract really gets the Astros off, easy. They're paying them, is it 21? I don't know the exact numbers in front of me here. If I did a deep dive, maybe I could. We'll see if I can find it easily here. But they're contributing $54 million toward his contract. So, let's see what it says here. 40. So it says, it came to the Mets in December on an $86.6 million deal. And that matched Max Scherzer's contract for the highest average annual value in Major League Baseball. And the agreement included the $35 million vesting option. That's the 140 innings he has to get to next year. But the Mets sent $35 million to the Astros to cover some of the Verlander's 2023-24 salary and an additional $17.5 million to Houston if Verlander's 2025 option vests. So yeah, 35 plus 17.5, $52.5 million is given to the Astros. $52.5 million to cover more than 50% of that contract. So yeah, that was the big news in that deal, because when you gave up Gilbert, obviously Gilbert was our prospect and deemed the untouchable guy. But when they were making the move to get Verlander and things were getting in the talks, deep into talks, we knew that Gilbert was going. So that wasn't a surprise. And again, we don't know how good Gilbert's going to be. I don't think he's been tearing it up at Double-A. So, I don't know. But again, he's not a top 100 guy. He's not. So, how good is he compared to other prospects? Probably not as good. But for the Astros and how bad their farm system is, he was the best they had. But yeah, again, 20 minutes. So I'm going to wrap things up there. Love to hear your comment section below. All the good stuff. And you'll see me again Sunday from the radio station at iHeartMedia in the KTRH producers studio. See you then.